Here's a short lesson on ragtime guitar. Some of you might have noticed that in a lot of my YouTube videos or in a lot of my guitar playing, I do this finger picking style that some of you might describe as ragtime, so I might do a song like Blue Skies, but instead of just like playing the chords, or instead of like doing like instead of doing something like that, I might do this. So you might describe that as ragtime guitar playing, and the main thing that gives it that ragtime feel is this thumb note that just keeps, like, I'm playing a note with my thumb on every beat, and I'm alternating the bass. My thumb just keeps bouncing back and forth between, it's usually going between the root of the chord and the fifth of the chord. So like if I'm on a C chord, it's going from the third fret of the fifth string to the third fret of the sixth string. Actually, I guess I'm hitting the third there in the middle too, so hitting the second fret of the fourth string. You might do something like that. So ragtime guitar playing has these steady bass notes. So you might describe all that as ragtime, and none of that is really none of those moves are necessarily like the standard ragtime chord progressions that you might hear. There are a lot of ragtime tunes are based on these certain kinds of chord progressions. So like one kind of ragtime progression that comes up a lot is say you're in the key of G, go to an E chord, then an A chord, then a D chord, and then a G. You can turn those into seventh chords: E7, A7, D7, G. So that's a really typical ragtime chord progression. Or if you were doing that in the key of C, it would be C, A, D7, G7, C. So yeah, a lot of songs that are called rags have that progression, and other ones do something like this. Start on the C, go up to D7, G, C. And that D7 I was playing there, that's a popular ragtime guitar chord. You take a C, turn it into a C7 by playing the third fret of the third string, and just go up 3 frets. That's a D7. You can add the open first string for a D9 if you want. So there are a lot of these seventh chords in this ragtime style. A lot of the time you'll play the A as a bar chord, and you'll play that fifth fret of the first string, and then you might go down to the seventh, which is on the third fret of the first string. Let's see, I'm getting that text here. Let's pause this. Alright, so those are some basic ragtime chord progressions. And so when we talk about ragtime, ragtime is a style of music that was developed by African Americans in the late 1800s and the early 1900s. And it's one noticeable thing about it is its syncopation. There's a lot of syncopated. There are a lot of syncopated melodies in ragtime. So syncopation, that just means that the notes are played off the beat. So you end up, instead of just something like this, you might have something like this. A lot of things on the upbeats. Some people describe the main rhythm of ragtime as being an eighth note followed by a quarter note followed by an eighth note, which would be that. So I guess if you play it like that, it doesn't sound that ragtimey. But if I play, like if you think of The Entertainer, you know, the Scott Joplin tune. So I guess eighth note, quarter note, eighth note, quarter note, just alternating between them. That's a very ragtimey kind of rhythm. Or Turkey in the Straw, that's that's a kind of syncopated bit of melody that has kind of a ragtimey kind of sound to it. And ragtime came before jazz, and jazz took this kind of syncopation and developed it further. But ragtime, a lot of people, when they think of ragtime, they think of Scott Joplin, and so The Entertainer, which I just sang a little bit of that for you, or Maple Leaf Rag, or tunes like that that were written for the piano. And there are these more complicated pieces that usually have a bunch of different sections, and there's usually a key change. The structure is kind of similar to a march, like if you think of a John Philip Sousa march, with a key change at the end and all these different episodes that happen throughout. A lot of the Scott Joplin style rags have a similar kind of structure. But there was also a kind of ragtime that developed, which is more of a folk music kind of a ragtime, and that is often just like a repetitive chord progression, like those ones I was playing a moment ago. And yeah, a lot of people have been influenced by that style of chord progression over the years. But ragtime guitar playing, or what's usually called ragtime guitar playing, is this kind of thing where you're playing. The thumb is playing something on every beat. And then your other fingers, they might play something at the same time as that thumb beat, or they might play something between the beats. I'm playing some kind of dissonant sounding things. I'm playing a lot of these seventh chords all over the place. I'm also mixing the minor third with the major third. So like if you're on a G chord, if you go to that third fret of the third string, and then move to the open second string here, yeah, that's a little bit of a dissonant note there. Those two notes clash. But you hear a lot of that kind of thing in ragtime guitar playing. But just to give you, let's see, a picking pattern we could do together here. Let's see. Just to give you something. Something that's consistent between a bunch of chords. Let's do this. So if we take a C chord, my thumb's going back and forth between the fifth string and the fourth string. So that thumb just keeps going back and forth here. So I'm playing a C chord, I'm going to an A chord, which is this bar here, and I'm also playing the fifth fret of the first string. And then a D7 chord, which is like a C here, third, little finger on the 3rd fret of the 3rd string, and then we just shift it up here to make it D. And then this is a G chord. I'll have you play it this way so you can keep exactly the same picking pattern going. It's 3rd fret of the 1st string and 2nd fret of the 5th string. So this picking pattern, so I was telling you the thumb is doing this just back and forth. And then you can either use 2 other fingers or just 1 other finger to play. So I'm playing the 1st string, 2nd string, 1st string, 2nd string. So the pattern is 5th string of 1st string, then the 2nd string, then the 4th string, and then the 1st string, 5th string, 2nd string, 4th string. So that's the whole right hand pattern. And I do the same thing on each of these chords. So if you do that on, if you learn that pattern and learn a lot of other patterns similar to that, then you'll start to just get a feel for this, and you can do a lot of arrangements of other songs with this kind of ragtime feel. But the main thing is to get so you feel comfortable having the thumb playing on every beat. And I've got some other finger picking lessons up here that that'll also help you with that. If you go to, I've got 9-pound hammer. I know I've done a lesson on that, so that would be useful. And I think some other ones. Basically, any finger picking pattern will help you develop this technique. And then the next step is to learn to add melodies to this kind of thing. So to get so you can play a melody and then also have that steady bass note going on all the way through and keep the chords going as well. A lot of what I do is like that. There's that steady bass thing. I'm playing the chords, and then I'm also playing the melody on top. And I'd like to say that I learned to play ragtime guitar from studying the great ragtime guitar players like Blind Blake and Blind Boy Fuller and folks like that. But really, I was playing like this before I was ever even exposed to their music, and I think really I learned it more secondhand. And more than anything else, I think I learned it from playing Alice's Restaurant over and over and over again. I first heard that song when I was about 9. My Aunt Linda got me a cassette tape of Arlo Guthrie's Greatest Hits, or the Best of Arlo Guthrie, something like that. And I loved that song, listened to it a lot. And when I was about 12, probably, my guitar teacher taught me how to play it on the guitar. And then I learned all the words, and I started performing the whole song. And I performed the whole song many times. And with a long song like that, if you get through it a few times, you really start to learn it better than you would a short song, because you end up playing it for 20 minutes. It's 18 minutes and 20 seconds long. So let me show you a little bit of that, and it's all classic ragtime moves in Alice's Restaurant. So it starts with this. This is a classic finger picking move. It's the same 3 chords that Blackbird begins on. But he's just playing like that. Lots of other songs use that. Walked off to look for a man. Or I'm singing the wrong key. Walked off to look for America. That's another one that uses that. But lots and lots of finger picking songs do that exact move. So it's the 6th string, 3rd fret, and 2nd string open. Then it's the open 5th string and 1st fret of the 2nd string, and 2nd fret of the 5th string, and 3rd fret of the 1st string. So that's this little introduction. Then you get to a C chord, and you play the 5th and 1st strings, then the 4th string. And here you hit, you're going to stretch your little finger over here, and play that 4th fret of the 2nd string, and then the 1st string, and then that 4th string bass note. And then A. So So it's a bar of the A chord and then the 5th fret of the 1st string. And you play that with the 4th string bass note. So that next part, 5th string and 1st string 3rd fret, and then 5th fret of the 2nd string, and then 4th string 2nd fret. And then this D7 chord again. That's a popular ragtime guitar chord. So let's just say it's the 5th string and the 2nd string, and then the 1st string, 4th string. So here this is a G chord, it's a G6. It's a G chord with just one finger down. A lot of finger picking makes sense to just play a G with one finger, but in this case we're actually turning to the 6th chord. So it's the 3rd fret of the 6th string with the 2nd fret. I'm sorry, it's the 3rd fret of the 6th string with the 2nd string open, then the 1st string open, and then the 4th string open, and then C. We're going to play the 5th and 2nd strings, and then we do this again. Back to the C, and then the A, and then back to this chord. You might alternate the bass there, and then we do those same chords again. Or you could do this, you could do it like that. He does it a few different ways in the song. So here it's the 6th string and the 6th string and the 2nd string. Then this same 2nd chord we were playing. And then this chromatic move here, 1st fret of the 5th string, 2nd fret of the 2nd fret of the 2nd string. And then back to that chord. And then back to the C. So we're playing the C chord here. And then we add that 3rd fret of the 1st string. And then here we've got this is an F chord, the kind with your thumb. And I recommend getting familiar with this chord if you're going to do a lot of finger picking. It's a really good finger picking F chord. But if you're going to use your thumb, you want to hold your hand like this, and your thumb should just be pinching from back here and just be right on top of the fret. So we're playing, the thumb's going back and forth between these two strings. Do that. So this is it's a D7 with a thumb on the 2nd fret of the 6th string bass. Thumb's just going back and forth here. And then C. And then it just all repeats. So that's Alice's Restaurant. And you can kind of strum some of these chords. You don't have to only hit the strings that I mentioned. You can always do this. Play the strings one at a time like that, but as though you're strumming it. So that's Alice's Restaurant. So if you play that a few hundred times, if you play the whole song a few hundred times, you'll really learn some of those moves, and your fingers will start to learn this stuff, and then you can apply it to arrangements of other songs. And if you watch my playing, I'm very frequently doing some kind of ragtimey kind of thing, like Paper Moon. That's all very ragtimey. Or what's another good example? I think there's a video of me doing that. Or making whoopee. So, and I don't know don't know that I've heard anybody do a ragtime guitar version of that song, but it works really well for that. A lot of the old jazz standards work great when given ragtime guitar arrangements. So you can do it with anything. Anyway, that's just a little introduction to ragtime guitar. You can and just think about some of these progressions that I was playing. And try doing some walk downs, walk ups with those. And listen to some Blind Blake. That'll give you some good ideas. So hope you got something from this lesson. It was kind of all over the place, but hopefully it was a good introduction to some ragtime guitar. Have a good one.